Now shrimp don't take much time, so I've got it on air fry, 10 minutes and 400. Shrimp cooks really. So this is not a review of convection ovens or even this particular convection oven, which is a GE. They announced last year that we were going to have a 17% increase in our electric bill here in Maine, in southern Maine. So I decided that it might be time to get a convection oven since they're a little easier on electricity. Sure enough, I checked our first month electric bill, and compared to a similar amount of use last year, it was 18% more. Now, convection ovens aren't cheap, so you could probably pay for a lot of electricity for the cost of one, but I always wanted one, and this convection oven is also an air fryer, and I thought, well, this would be a good time to do it because my regular house oven takes 3,400 watts, I looked it up, of power, and you have to preheat it, and that takes a while. It's a big area, and we usually just cook small stuff, it's just 2 people. And we use it a lot. We use it every day or every other day at least. So 3,400 watts compared to about 1,500 or 1,600 watts for this oven, and less cooking time supposedly because it's a convection oven. So I decided to try it out. Now, if you've got a convection oven, that's great. If it works for you or doesn't work for you, that's great. If anything, this video is for like people like me who have never had or used a convection oven and think, wow, should I get one? Do I want to get one? Are they even worth it? If this works good, I'll let you know. If it sucks, I'll let you know. And I'll just have a nice elaborate toaster oven here on the counter, which I will keep. So here goes. This is the oven, and it's actually kind of cool. It's got a digital display and a couple of buttons. It's actually quite easy to use. And I am going to move this button over to get it over to convection, which is right there. And what I'm cooking needs 400 degrees normally. They say with convection that you can actually put it lower, but I'll put it at 400 because what I'm cooking doesn't care. And then you push this button, and normally I would cook this for 40 minutes, but I'm going to put it down to 20 because supposedly it should work with half the time. So let's put this in one-handed. What I've got here is some butternut squash that I put a little buttered spray on, and some flavored breadcrumbs and salt and pepper. And you cook them, and they're kind of like tater tots in a way. They're actually pretty good. So I'll put this in here, and I will push the start button, and it will do a preheating, and then it will start cooking. So it doesn't preheat for everything, but it does preheat for this. So it will take a few minutes to do that. Well, it finished its 20-minute cycle. I thought it was going to preheat for 20 minutes and then cook for 20 minutes, would still give it 40 minutes, even though the oven does preheat for about 15 minutes on the large oven. But no, the 20 minutes included the preheating cycle and also the cooking time. So let's see how it did. Pull this out a little bit, and well, those are nearly done, but not quite. So let me give it a little more time. Let's set it. Let's set it for on convection again, and let's go back up to 400, and let's just do another 10 minutes. and it'll preheat again, but it'll probably preheat very quickly because I had just turned the oven off. These are done. That extra 10 minutes that I put them in for, I took about half that. I just checked them, they're finished. So let's stop this and let's take a quick look again. And sorry about the shaky camera. These are completed. A good tool. Okay, that part's done. I've already made some coleslaw, and the breaded squash is done. And now I'm going to do some shrimp. What we've got here is some shelled shrimp, raw, and some flour, and a little bit of egg, and some seasoned breadcrumbs, and some salt and pepper in it. And what I'm going to do is mix these into a little olive oil, and then put them all in here and put them in the air fry tray. And we'll try the air fryer out for the first time and see how it cooks. So here's the air fry basket with my battered shrimp ready to go in here. Put nothing on the bottom, and you put the air fry basket in the center. And then, let's see. Air fry. Okay. Now shrimp don't take much time, so let's put this down. Now shrimp only takes about 15 to 20 minutes in a regular oven at about 400 degrees when I bake it. So I've got it on air fry, 10 minutes and 400. Shrimp cooks really fast. If this should happen to do that, I'll just check it and take it out earlier. So here goes. Are finished. The stove cools itself down when it's done. Don't judge me on being a cook. I never claimed to be a cook. We're just trying to make food that is half decent and is not fried and doesn't have too much fat and other things in it. When you get our age, you're trying to avoid the medications, and to do that, this is what you got to do. But you try to be creative. A standard oven, my oven, is 3,500 watts. The convection oven is 1,400 watts. And that means it's using not 40% less like I have here, but 40% of the electricity that a standard oven would use. In a standard oven, cooking this would be a 15-minute preheat and 40-minute cook time for a total of 55 minutes of cooking. The convection oven had a 10-minute preheat, and I had to do two 10-minute cook times. I started off with 10, I had to add another 10, so that's 20 minutes. So the total of preheat and cook time was 30 minutes. So the convection oven used 55% of the cook time that a standard oven would use. So looking at the last line, 55% of the standard oven's 40% of the electricity means it used 72% electricity. Another way of saying that is that the standard oven uses 40% electricity, but I basically only used about half the time. So it's half or 55% of 40% of the electricity. That's pretty good. Well, what's the verdict on air frying and convection oven cooking? Well, power-wise, it looks like the elements take half the power. And then the cooking time is about half. So 50% savings on electricity from just the cooking time, then 50% savings on that from the fact that the elements take half the power. So I suppose you could really say it's 75% less electricity to cook with this thing. And the reason the elements are smaller than the conventional oven is because the stove is smaller, so it heats the same way with smaller elements. So electricity is fine. Now, where we are, the cost per kilowatt, I did a little calculation and I figured that we're probably saving roughly more or less about $10 a month. And that would vary by how long you cook stuff and how many times you cook stuff in an oven during that month period. So considering the cost of the stove, it'll take about a year and a half to pay for it. But the upside is that we have a small stove that cooks quicker too. So you can look at it that way. Now, as far as cooking, as an oven for baking stuff, it does a good job. Using the convection part of it, it cooks things in half the time, and it cooks as good as my large oven does. The air fryer, though, which I did not buy this for, but I thought, that would be nice. You know, fried food without the oil. Well, if I take that same shrimp and I cook it in the oven, fixed up the same, or I put it in a fry pan with oil, the one with oil is like really, really good. It's like fried food from a seafood restaurant. The one in the oven tastes more like battered baked food. The air fryer in this really doesn't fry the food. It tastes more like the oven. It does do it in half the time though, but it does taste more like the oven. You really need the oil in it to give it that fried flavor. So as an air fryer, yeah, it looks fried, but it's really baked. So in a nutshell, it does save some electricity. It cooks like your regular oven, but it does it in half the time, literally half the time. So there's the advantages. And of course, there's some savings on electricity, whether it's a lot or not compared to the price of the stove, debatable.